All right, good morning, everyone. This meeting is called to order. Mr. Troutman, has anyone signed up for public comment? Thank you very much. Good morning, Ms. Miller.
Good morning.
No cases to reconsider under agenda item 3.
Correct, no cases.
And under tax liability cases under agenda item 4, we have no tax cases on docket 10.
Correct, no cases.
No fair housing cases on agenda item 5.
No, sir, no cases.
Under agenda item 6, we have no wage claim cases on docket 10 pulled for additional discussion.
Correct, none pulled, but you should have received the wage claim short form dissent list for docket 10.
I move we accept staff recommendations on the remaining wage claim cases on docket 10.
Second, the chairman's motion, except for the cases on which I'm dissenting as reflected in the wage claim short form dissent list for docket 10.
I concur with the chairman's motion, except for those cases on which I am dissenting as reflected on the wage claim short form dissent list for docket 10.
Motion passes with the exceptions noted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move to agenda item 7, consideration of unemployment insurance cases on docket 10. Please proceed when you're ready.
Case number 283-5209, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision should be reversed. The claimant has an autoimmune disorder. In early March 2020, the claimant took leave of absence due to personal illness. By the time the claimant started to feel better, she could not return to the job due to concerns of how the emerging COVID-19 pandemic would put her health at risk, given her underlying conditions. Therefore, the claimant left the job due to personal illness and the impact of the COVID-19 disaster. Reverse the AT, no voluntary leaving, no overpayment.
We should affirm the appeal tribunal decision. Although the claimant alleged medical reasons for her separation, the record shows that the claimant did not provide the employer with the doctor's note or provide evidence that she was advised by her physician to quit. The record shows that the claimant left her job based on her conclusion that she could not perform the employer's essential job functions. As such, the claimant's separation entailed a voluntary quit without work-connected good cause. Hence, we should affirm the AT decision, voluntary leaving, overpayment.
Affirm the AT, voluntary leaving, overpayment.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3129180, Commissioner Demerson.
The AT decision is not supportable. Although the AT decision failed to include a ruling on the timeliness of the appeal, the employer's late AT should be considered timely because the employer gave specific testimony concerning the misleading and inconsistent information it received from TWC concerning whether and how to appeal a chargeback determination. We've reached the same conclusion on several similar cases on prior dockets. Accordingly, we should hold the employer's appeal timely and resubmit the case on the late protests and work separation issues.
The decision is not correct. Although the employer may have initially received TWC misinformation regarding their need to file a response to TWC documents, the employer was informed of their need to respond prior to the issuance of the TWC document on January 13, 2022. The employer has not established an exception to the timeliness rules in this case. Modify the AT, employer appeal not timely, late response to notice of maximum potential chargeback, charge the employer's account.
Modify the AT, timely employer appeal, resubmit.
We will resubmit the case.
Case number 3129900, Commissioner Demerson.
The AT decision is not supportable. The employer's late AT should be considered timely because the employer gave specific testimony concerning the misleading and inconsistent information it received from TWC concerning whether and how to appeal a chargeback determination. Regardless of the timing of the misinformation, just as in prior similar cases on earlier dockets, the misinformation was so substantial over such a period of time that the employer could not have been expected to know what to do. Accordingly, we should hold the employer's appeal timely and resubmit the case on the timeliness of protests and work separations.
The decision is correct. Although the employer may have initially received TWC misinformation regarding their need to file a response to TWC documents, the employer was informed of their need to respond prior to the issuance of the TWC document on January 13, 2022. The employer has not established an exception to the timeliness rules in this case. Affirm the AT, employer appeal not timely, late response to the notice of maximum potential chargeback, charge the employer's account.
Reverse the AT, timely employer appeal, resubmit.
We will resubmit the case.
Case number 316-0038. Commissioner Dimerson,
The AT decision is not supportable based on the current record. Although the employer testified that it filed a timely protest to the NMPC, it did not offer firsthand testimony from the person who put it in the mail, nor did it submit physical evidence of what it mailed. In its appeal to the commission, the employer has now offered to submit a copy of its timely protest. Accordingly, we should hold a rehearing to obtain additional evidence of the employer's timely protest, including the copy of the protest offered in the appeal to the commission, as well as to give the employer an opportunity to present any firsthand testimony that may be available.
The AT decision is supportable. While the employer alleged to have submitted a timely response, there is no corroborating evidence that the employer submitted an earlier response that the commission did not receive. Affirm the AT late employer response to notice of maximum potential chargeback. The employer's account remains charged.
Rehear.
We will rehear the case.
case number 3199537. Commissioner Dimerson,
We should reverse the appeal tribunal decision. The claimant was aware of the employer's policy on attendance and dependability at the workplace. The record shows that the claimant abused her leave time by being absent without approval for almost an entire month due to personal reasons unrelated to the work. Although the claimant alleged that some of her absences concerned her medical condition, the claimant failed to apprise the employer about her medical condition or provide the employer with a doctor's note about her illness. Since the claimant was aware of the employer's policy on absences at the workplace, but thereafter violated the policy by engaging in abusive leave practices, the claimant's actions constituted mismanagement of her position of employment and was misconduct connected with the work. As such, we should reverse the AT decision. Misconduct, reimburse an employer not billed, adequate employer response.
The AT decision is supportable. The claimant's attendance issues were due to medical reasons and the death of 3 family members. The claimant properly notified the employer of her absences, and the absences under these circumstances did not constitute misconduct connected with the work. Affirm the AT, no misconduct. Bill employer's reimbursing account.
Rehear the case to obtain the claimant's medical documentation.
Short form dissent.
We have not yet achieved a majority vote. There's 1 vote to disqualify, 1 vote to qualify, and 1 vote to rehear.
Chair, I'm going to go with rehear in case of the chairman's vote.
We'll rehear the case.
Yeah, thank you.
case number 3227116. Commissioner Dimerson,
The AT decision is not supportable. The employer's late AT should be considered timely because the employer gave specific testimony concerning the misleading and inconsistent information it received from TWC concerning whether and how to appeal a late protest determination. This employer has offered credible testimony showing how the lack of consistent information about the appeal process left it in legitimate confusion about how to proceed with an appeal. Accordingly, we should hold the employer's appeal timely and resubmit the case on the timeliness of the protest issue.
The decision is correct. Although the employer may have initially received TWC misinformation regarding their need to file a response to TWC documents, the employer was informed of their need to respond prior to the issuance of the TWC documents on January 13, 2022. The employer has not established an exception to the timeliness rules in this case. Affirm the AT, employer appeal not timely, employer's protest not timely.
Reverse AT, timely employer appeal, resubmit.
We'll resubmit this case.
case number 3317864. Commissioner Trevino,
The claimant was discharged after an absence due to illness with notice. The claimant called the employer 20 minutes before her 10 p.m. Saturday shift to inform them she would be unable to work. She would have contacted the employer sooner, but she hoped she would feel better, good enough to report for work. The employer has not provided any evidence the claimant was told she had to provide more than 20 minutes before her scheduled start time. The employer instructed the claimant to provide a doctor's note and discharged her when they hadn't received it by Monday morning. No evidence has been provided to establish the claimant was given a deadline to provide a note. The claimant's absence was due to personal illness and she was not given a reasonable amount of time to provide a note. Modify the AT, no misconduct, no chargeback, MVI.
Agree with that. The appeal tribunal decision should be modified. The claimant notified the employer before a shift that she would not be able to attend work due to illness. Since the final incident that led to the claimant's discharge was the result of illness, the claimant should continue to be qualified for benefits, but the employer's account should be protected from charge under medical separation analysis. We should therefore modify the AT decision, no misconduct, no chargeback, MVI.
Reverse the AT, misconduct, no chargeback, adequate employer response. Short form dissent.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Case number 3325272. Commissioner Trevino,
The AT decision is not supportable. The claimant attempted to participate in the first hearing from his attorney's office. The claimant left his home early on the morning of the first hearing to reach his attorney's office in time for the hearing. However, the claimant encountered heavy rainfall and road closures, which caused him to call in just 3 minutes late for the hearing. The claimant made a good faith effort to participate in the hearing and was only a few minutes late due to weather and road conditions that were beyond his control. Modify the AT, good cause, and resubmit.
The appeal tribunal decision should be modified. Concerning good cause, the claimant could have registered for the appeal hearing before arriving to the location that he wished to conduct the hearing from, but instead chose to call in for the hearing after it had already begun. Since the claimant was not prevented from attending the hearing due to circumstances beyond his control, he did not have good cause for his non-appearance. As to the job separation, the claimant was discharged for embarking on a task that was outside of the scope of his job duties. Specifically, the claimant administered medication to a patient that was outside the scope of his employment and led to a significant patient safety concern. As such, the claimant's actions constituted work-connected misconduct. We should therefore modify the AT decision. The claimant did not have good cause for his non-appearance, misconduct, no chargeback, sever adequate employer response.
Reverse the AT, claimant established good cause for AT1, resubmit.
We will resubmit the case.
case number 3372778. Commissioner Trevino,
The AT decision is not supportable. The claimant was discharged when he was suspended without pay for more than 3 days. The employer suspended the claimant because he made an expression of concern about performing some of his duties due to medical reasons. After he was already suspended, the claimant was asked to provide medical documentation. The claimant attempted to get medical documentation, but he could not get an appointment in time. As the claimant's discharge was due to his health conditions, we should qualify the claimant for benefits and protect the employer's chargeback account. Modify the AT, no misconduct, no chargeback, MBI.
We should modify the appeal for tribunal decision. The employer asked the claimant to provide medical documentation of his health condition and possible restrictions in order to be able to accommodate him. The claimant neither provided the medical documentation by the deadline nor contacted the employer to request additional time to obtain the medical documents. By failing to comply with the deadline and not maintaining contact with the employer, the claimant mismanaged his position of employment. We should modify the AT decision, misconduct, no chargeback.
Read here to obtain a copy of the letter sent to the claimant by the employer.
We have not yet
I'm
achieved.
fine with read here.
We'll rehear the case, sir.
Thank you.
case number 3415185. Commissioner Trevino,
The decision is not supportable. The claimant and the employer had agreed to the claimant taking leave of absence to deal with a medical situation involving her mother. The claimant and the employer agreed to set a return to work date after the claimant had a chance to evaluate her mother's needs. The claimant stayed in regular contact with the employer during her absence. When the claimant contacted the employer 2 weeks later to see if she could return to work that week on a part-time basis, the employer denied the claimant's request and discharged the claimant in order to replace the claimant's position. Therefore, the employer initiated the work separation. Reverse the AT, no misconduct, chargeback, void adequate response.
We should modify the appeal tribunal decision. I recognize that the claimant's sudden need for leave was for a very compelling personal reason. Although the claimant's initial 1 week of leave was approved by the employer, the claimant later requested more time off and was unable to provide the employer with a definite date by which she would be able to return to work full time. Thus, because the claimant initiated the job separation by leaving work for a personal reason and was not able to provide the employer with a definite return to work date, the claimant voluntarily quit without good cause connected with the work. Accordingly, we should modify the AT decision, voluntary leaving, no chargeback, sever the adequate response issue.
Modify the AT, voluntary leaving, no chargeback, sever adequate response.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir. And that was the last UI case for additional discussion on docket 10.
Sure, just a second, let me.
Yes, sir. Ready for the motion?
Ready.
I move we accept staff recommendations on the remaining UI cases on docket 10.
And I second the chairman's motion, except for the cases on which I'm dissenting, is reflected in the UI short form dissent list for docket 10.
I concur with the chairman's motion, except for those cases on which I am dissenting, as reflected on UI short form dissent list for docket 10.
Motion passes with the exceptions noted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other order of business coming before the commission? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I second the
It's
motion.
been moved and seconded to adjourn. We're adjourned. Thank you.